I'd like to call to order the May 8th Planning Commission public hearing. My name is George Alcarez, and I'm the chairman of the Virginia Beach Planning Commission. Today, we have full attendance, all our commissioners. Thank you for all coming. We're all done with our vacations, so now we're all here to get to business. Before we get started, I've asked Commissioner Byler to lead us in a prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Parks. If everyone can please stand.
Bless this city and all who dwell within it. May the freshness of this season inspire us as we plan and make decisions. Grant us the wisdom to recognize our community's needs, the compassion to include all voices, and the courage to innovate for our collective well-being. We ask that our time together be spent with a spirit of cooperation and respect, and that every decision we make may contribute to a legacy of integrity and service. Amen.
Amen. Please place the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'd like to have our staff and the commissioners introduce themselves. We start with our city attorney.
Hi, Tori Eisenberg, Associate City Attorney for Land Use.
Michael Mach, I am the at-large representative.
Good afternoon, I'm Naomi Astaris, representing District 1.
Good afternoon, my name is John Cromwell. I represent District 2, Pungo and Blackwater.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson. I represent District 3.
Catherine Byler, District 4, which is Town Center and the area up to the Norfolk border, Newtown Road.
George Alcarez, District 5.
Holly Cuellar, District 8.
Brian Plumley, representing beautiful District 6.
Susan Hippen, representing the area that contains Salem High School, Tallwood High School, and College Park.
John Costin, representing District 9.
William Parks, representing District 10.
Caitlin Alcock, Planning Administrator. Clerking to my left, we have Madison Eichels and Shannon Hedrick. In the audience, we have Planning Director Kathy Warren, Deputy Director Carrie Buchholt. With our Planning Administration team, we have Wah Dow, Marshall Coleman, and Elizabeth Nowak. With our zoning group, we have Zoning Administrator Kevin Kemp, Deputy Zoning Administrator Brandon Hackney, and then Garrett Hannigan. With our comp plan group, we have Rachel Miller, and then we have the city's traffic engineer, Rick Lohman.
Thank you, Caitlin. Next, I'd like to ask our clerk, Madison, to describe the rules and order of business for today's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Virginia Beach Planning Commission takes pride in being fair and courteous to all parties in attendance. It is important that all involved understand how the Commission normally conducts its meeting. It is equally important that everyone treat each other and the members of the Commission with respect and civility. As a courtesy to all in attendance, we request that if you have a cell phone, to please silence it for the duration of this meeting. Following is an abbreviated explanation of the rules. The complete set is located in the front of the Planning Commission agenda. The order of business for this public hearing, withdrawals and deferrals. The chairman will ask if there are any requests to withdraw or defer an item on the agenda. Consideration of these requests will be made first. The consent agenda. The second order of business is the consideration of the consent agenda, which are those items that the Planning Commission believe are unopposed and which have favorable staff recommendation. The regular agenda. The Commission will then proceed with the remaining items on the agenda. When an agenda item has been called, we will recognize the applicant or the representative first. Please note that the actions taken by the Commission today are in the form of a recommendation to the Virginia Beach City Council. The final decision to approve or disapprove an application will be made by the City Council. The Commission thanks you for your attendance, and we hope that your experience here today leaves you feeling that you have been heard and treated fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, Madison. Before we get into our formal hearing, I'd like to ask our Vice Chair Cuellar to say something.
Thank you. We've learned this week that an integral member of the planning department staff is going to be leaving, and we would like to thank Wah Dow for his service to the city. You have shared your time, your talent with the city for 5 years, and we know that the planning department is better because of your service. The Commission especially owes you a level of gratitude as our staff liaison. I know you have spent countless hours preparing each of us to be here today to provide service to our citizens. You have been incredibly patient with all of the questions that we inundate you. I know personally every time I have called Wah, he responds quickly, he responds with a smile, and he says, I'll get right back to you. And so we are, we wish you all the best as you travel to Loudoun County. They are lucky to have you. We know that you're going to be closer to your biological family, but just know that your Virginia Beach family is going to miss you. And we thank you very much for your service and your time here.
Thank you all. All right, so our first order of business is the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Hippen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Quaylar.
By a vote of 11-0, the minutes have been recommended for approval.
All right, great. Our next order of business is consideration for requests to withdraw or defer. So just for formalities, I'm going to ask, are there any withdrawals today? I see none, so I'm going to go to deferrals. Are there any deferrals for today's hearings?
There's one requested deferral for Timothy Page with the rental cart application. That is an indefinite deferral request. There was no objection at the informal, so I'd like to make a motion that that matter be deferred indefinitely.
All right, I have a motion. Do I need a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hippen. For agenda number, was that 5?
8.
8, sorry. Second that.
The vote is now open. Thank you. By a vote of 11-0, agenda item number 8 has been recommended for indefinite deferral.
All right, thank you. Now I'll pass it on to the Vice Chair for the deferrals, for the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today we have 8 items on the consent agenda. These are applications that are recommended for approval by staff and the Planning Commission concurred, and there are no speakers signed up in opposition. We'll go ahead and start with agenda item number 1, City of Virginia Beach.
Thank you. The first item here is an ordinance to amend Section 103 of the zoning ordinance, which would permit the zoning administrator to make minor modifications to the dimensional requirements of the ordinance. It does so by adding a Section M. What this does specifically is it allows the zoning administrator to modify provisions of the zoning ordinance by up to 5%. This deals with dimensional requirements, things such as the size, height, or the location of building structures or improvements on the lot. It also establishes a criteria for which the zoning administrator has to review each request and what they have to find. Those are that the strict application of the ordinance would produce an undue hardship, that the hardship is not shared with properties in the same zoning district or vicinity, and that it would not cause a hardship on the adjoining properties. There is also a notification process that's put in place. The zoning administrator has to mail out letters to the adjacent property owners, to which they have 21 days to respond. A sign will also be posted on the site for 30 days. If there is opposition to it, the zoning administrator will review that opposition. If it's substantiated, they would then go to, or have the opportunity to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance request. Lastly, there is a $200 fee associated with this application, and that covers the staff resources and notification costs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Is there any opposition to this item being placed on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll go forward with our next item number. And even though we all know you, please state your name for the record.
Okay. I'm Kevin Kemp. I'm the zoning administrator for the City of Virginia Beach. And I'm the same person who did the first item for the record. All right, the second item is an ordinance to amend section 1906 of the zoning ordinance, and this is in regards to the composition and appointment terms for the members of the Old Beach Design Review Committee. In regards to the composition, currently this committee has 5 members. 2 are required to be from the Resort Advisory Commission, and the other 3 are required to be either residents or property owners of the Old Beach neighborhood. What this amendment does is it changes that and takes one of the required members from RAC and shifts that to be a licensed design professional with relevant work experience. The second change of the amendment is in terms of the appointments, and this is just clarifying. So it adds a subsection that says 2 of the members will be appointed to 1 year, their first term of 1 year, 2 to 2 years, and 1 member to a 3-year term, and all subsequent appointments will be 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Is there any opposition to this item being placed on the consent agenda? Okay, thank you very much. You may be seated. Our next item on the consent agenda is item number 3, and we've asked Commissioner Anderson to read that into the record, please.
Okay, thank you. This is for modification of conditions, amend deed of conditions and restrictions for City of Virginia. Whoa, hold on. The applicant's request to modify Section 3B of the 2009 amended conditions and restrictions to allow for the operation of an office of voter registrar and central absentee precinct is acceptable, except for changes to the section below. The remainder of the deed of conditions and restrictions will remain in effect. Section 3B of the 2009 amended conditions and restrictions is hereby deleted in its entirety and replaced as follows. Should I read all of that?
Whatever you feel.
Only the following uses permitted under the present light industrial zoning classification for the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia shall be permitted on the property businesses, medical, financial, nonprofit, professional, similar office buildings, eating, drinking establishments without drive-through windows, printing, lithographic, or publishing establishments, public buildings and grounds, public meetings, assemblies, uses, office distribution, warehousing, and production studios and accessory uses. Additionally, the following uses shall be permitted on units 1, 2A, and 2B, a full-service office of the General Registrar for voter registration and elections, central absentee voter precinct, including without limitations curbside and in-person voting, vote counting and review, public speech activities, education, and training, off-street parking and pedestrian access ways, as well as other municipal office and warehouse purposes. Additionally, the following uses shall be permitted on units 3B1 and 3B2, a full-service financial institution with drive-through and ATMs. For this, the staff recommendation is for approval, and commission has asked to be put on consent.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Anderson. Our next item on the consent agenda is item number 4, Military Aviation Museum. Is there a representative here today?
Thank you, Commissioner Cuellar. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, for the record, Eddie Burdon, Virginia Beach attorney representing the Military Aviation Museum. It's truly an honor to come before the commission today representing the museum and most importantly, Jerry and Elaine Yegan and their family. The millions of dollars they've invested in this, jewel in the southern part of Virginia Beach is truly something we all should take great joy and pride in. The 15 conditions as recommended in the staff evaluation are all acceptable to us. This is just simply putting into the conditions how the museum has operated for the last 10 plus years. There's nothing that's really changing with this. I want to thank Marshall Coleman, Plan Director Kathy Warren and her staff. I appreciate the commission placing this on the consent agenda. And while I'm up here, I didn't know Wah was leaving, but Wah, you've done a fantastic job during a tough time in a lot of different ways, a lot of challenges, not the least of which was COVID. And Ms. Cuellar is absolutely right. Anytime you touch base with Wah, he's always very professional, very courteous, and very patient. And we'll miss you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Is there any opposition to this item being placed on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I've asked Commissioner Cromwell to read this into the record.
On January the 9th, 2007, City Council approved a conditional use permit for a museum on this 80-acre parcel zoned AG and AG2 agricultural district. Modifications to the conditional use permit were subsequently approved by the City Council in 2008 and 2011. In 2008, modification permitted an expansion of the museum to include 5 additional structures and additional parking, while the 2011 modification allowed for 45,000 square foot hangar exhibition area with associated parking to the west of the existing hangar museum. The applicant is now seeking a modification to expand the operating hours for the museum to accommodate special events held on site, as well as other events that are customarily incidental to museum use. The current operating hours for the museum are 9 to 5 p.m., 7 days a week, except for the summer months when the museum ceases operation at dusk. With the current request, the applicant is proposing to amend the hours of operation for the museum to 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week, and no later than 10 p.m. for any special events permitted by the city's special events office. No more than 8 special events of an outdoor nature having outdoor amplified sound, which exceed 500 persons in attendance, will be allowed on the property per calendar year. Events that are customarily incidental to the museum use shall not be considered a special event. No changes to the site layout are proposed. As the Planning Commission has received no opposition, we recommend this for the consent agenda.
Thank you very much. Our next item on the consent agenda is item number 6, Michelle Cleland. Hello.
Hello. My name is Robin Bowling. I'm here for Michelle Cleland. And I'm here to, I don't really know what to say because she kind of tossed me in here last minute.
Well, first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we're very appreciative.
Yeah.
And could you just state your name again for the record?
Robin Bowling.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And then are the conditions acceptable to you and Ms. Cleland?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Is there any opposition to this item being placed on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I've asked Commissioner Byler to read it into the record.
Thank you.
You may be seated.
The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to operate a wildlife rehabilitation center on this approximately 3-acre parcel zoned AG2 Agricultural District at 2285 London Bridge Road. She will rehabilitate orphaned native avian species, including waterfowl, waterbirds, and songbirds, and will eventually provide care of injured animals. The applicant will be operating this facility as an individual, not as a part of an organization. Animals will be brought to her primarily from other licensed rehabbers in the Virginia Beach area.
Thank you very much. The next item is item number 7, Milestone Manor LLC. Is there a representative here today? Welcome, and can you please state your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Natalie Petrosky, and I'm representing Milestone Manor.
Thank you very much. And are the conditions acceptable to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. Is there any opposition to this item being placed on the consent agenda? Hearing none, thank you for coming. You may be seated. And I've asked Commissioner Esteras to read this into the record.
Thank you. The applicant is seeking a conditional use permit to operate a daycare center with an existing 12,000 square foot church located on an 8.24 acre R10 residentially zoned parcel. The application was filed in response to a notice violation issued on January 29th, 2024 for operating what was initially considered to be a private school in a residential district. Upon further discussion with the applicant, it was determined the zoning administrator, the operation constituted a daycare within an existing religious use rather than a private school. Care is currently provided to approximately 35 kids. It is recommended not to be total not to exceed 40. In the staff's opinion, this request for a conditional use permit to operate a daycare in a religious use is acceptable. It is anticipated that a minimal traffic will be generated by the addition of a daycare with a capacity of no more than 40 children to this site. Proposal has been approved by the planning staff, and the requester has accepted the conditions and no public opposition. It is our recommendation to submit to the consent agenda.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Our next item on the consent agenda is item number 9, Suzanne Colligan. It doesn't appear that Ms. Colligan can be with us here today, so I've asked Commissioner Plumlee to read this into the record.
Suzanne Colligan has made this request at 304 28th Street, Unit 208 for short-term rental. This is proper within the text amendment zone, OR Oceanfront Resort. She has her assigned parking space. The staff noted that there had been a previous illegally advertised and used short-term rental at this location, but it is a condominium where that was a habit for a while. So the applicant worked with staff, and staff is agreeable. Our excellent staff is agreeable to have this placed on the consent agenda today. There's no objection by any member of the commission, so it's appropriate.
Thank you very much. Item number 10, Samantha Caro. Welcome. Thank you for being here today. Could you please state your name for the record?
Samantha Caro.
And are the conditions acceptable to you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there any opposition to this item being placed on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I've asked Commissioner Mouch to read this into the record, please.
The applicant is requesting to operate a 2-bedroom short-term rental unit within the Pacific Place condominium building. Short-term rentals are prevalent on this property with a total of 16 approved conditional use permits for the operation of short-term rentals. Based on the consideration above and no opposition, staff recommends approval of this request with the conditions listed below, which I will not read. And we chose to put it on the consent agenda.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Mr. Chairman, that was the last item on the consent agenda. The Planning Commission places the following applications on the consent agenda. Items number 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Oh,
Sorry. I move that these items be approved by consent.
Okay. I have a
Second.
motion. Second by Mr. Plumlee. Is that correct? Or Parks? Plumlee, thank you. Votes open.
By a vote of 11 to 0, agenda items 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10 have been recommended for approval.
All right, thank you. If you had an application that was approved, if you can get with your planning staff that's worked with you, and they'll let you know when the city council action will be taken on your agenda item. And you're free to leave if you like. We're going to move on to the formal hearing. And Madam Clerk, if you could let us know our first and only agenda item.
Agenda item number 5, Green Clean Holland LLC, is a request for a conditional use permit for a car wash facility at 4245 Holland Road in District 10.
Sir, if you can come up. Are you both going to speak?
They're both with the applicant.
Yeah, well, I'll hear him and then you, because you got to state your name, if that's okay.
That's perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Greg Schmidt with Kimley Horn. We are the agent representing Green Clean Holland LLC. I do want to start by thanking planning staff for giving us a fair analysis of the benefits that this project does provide even though the negative recommendation for denial. I do want to talk a little bit about Green Clean and what that company is. It started as a local family-owned business. It is still 100% locally operated with the main point of contact managing all the day-to-day operations of the car washes that they own within Hampton Roads. Green Clean provides a wide range of services from single washes to memberships to fleet services. They also focus on giving back to the communities in which they serve. They have a Green Clean Cares program that offers grant application opportunities, that offers fundraising and donation opportunities to give back to the communities in which they serve. Green Clean does operate a number of car washes within the city of Virginia Beach, and I highlight that to say that in each and every site that they've developed, they've taken away a vagrant structure or a vacant structure, and they've redeveloped it into something that is more modern and more relevant to the customers that they serve. Some of those include a vacant bank that sat vacant for many years on Virginia Beach Boulevard, a dilapidated gas station on Shore Drive, and an old self-serve car wash on South Military Highway. They always strive to be a good neighbor, and with each and every of those redevelopment sites, they have worked closely with staff to identify the specific architectural needs, landscaping needs, and site development needs for that specific area of the city. I want to dive into, I have been asked many times what Green Clean means. And I think there is a misconception about car washes and their environmental impacts. But in all reality, the Green Clean motto and the way these car washes operate is they prevent soaps from getting in the storm drain system. They reclaim water. And ultimately, they provide a better site than the ones that they've previously inhabited. Very different from most of us who might be washing our cars in their driveway. What we are presenting here before the commission today is an adaptive reuse. This is a development opportunity that sets Green Clean apart from their peers in the car wash industry. They are working to take the existing Rite Aid building at the corner of South Plaza and Holland, keeping the building guts and converting it into an automated car wash tunnel, which will also feature interior vacuum spaces, and it will also have exterior vacuum spaces that will be free to the community around it. I do want to talk about the existing site a little bit. It was built in 1999 as a prototypical Rite Aid pharmacy. There is no existing connectivity for pedestrians to the building itself or the Timberlake Shopping Center behind it. It also features dated architecture, unmaintained landscaping, and is currently uninhabited. What this adaptive reuse project does offer to the city is an opportunity to see improved vegetation with the proposed enhanced landscape plan, additional shared pedestrian connectivity to Timberlake Shopping Center, the addition of landscaping and canopy trees along the sidewalk to the south to Timberlake, as well as the proposed sidewalk with this project. It also features enhanced architecture with wood facades and updating the paint colors on the existing building to more natural earth tones. It also includes the reuse of much of the existing infrastructure, decreasing the demand on the construction material industry. And ultimately, the addition of the green space further reduces the impact on the stormwater runoff that currently exists at this property. I think when we look at the commercial area pattern book, it talks a lot about neighborhood adjacency and compatibility, pedestrian connectivity, and what the Holland Corridor could be. I think we've worked closely with staff over the last number of months to come up with a plan that addresses many of the initiatives that are presented in that area pattern book for Holland Road, including the addition of sidewalks, the addition of canopy trees, the improvement to the street frontage landscaping and buffering, and the improvements to the architecture to make it more relevant and more current. The one thing I do want to touch on related to neighborhood compatibility, this is surrounded by a number of multifamily residential developments. What is one of the things that many of us who have lived in an apartment at one point understand is it's not easy to wash your car or vacuum your car in a multifamily apartment development. So what this actually provides is an opportunity to not have to run an extension cord out of a window or not have to use a dustbuster for something that actually requires a legitimate vacuum, and ultimately providing a more environmentally friendly way to wash your car. Given all the improvements that have been proposed with this development, we do feel while the use may not be the most desirable, given the commercial area pattern book, it does strive to achieve many of those initiatives with the things that I've laid out. I do want to talk about the staff report's reference to the Holland Road Phase 1 project. This identifies a project that will expand Holland Road from 4 lanes to 6, inclusive of protected U-turns as a super street design. In my opinion, in looking at this and engineering analysis, Holland Road currently sees 37,000 vehicles per day. The city has seen the need to necessitate the CIP project that will expand Holland Road to 6 lanes. This is a corridor not necessarily designed around people, but designed around helping vehicles get to and from their destinations. I personally commute on Holland Road from the Red Mill area to Town Center each and every day with many of my fellow residents. I do want to add, also related to the neighborhood compatibility, car washes have long been a place that creates a sense of community where people bond over the care that they put into their vehicles, where my wife and I can go to vacuum our cars without having to mess with those fussy extension cords. And I think it does continue to provide that, given the nature of the surrounding adjacent developments. In closing, there are currently 7 vacant Rite Aids in Virginia Beach alone. It is likely another 6 will become vacant once the bankruptcy is completed. I'm not saying each and every one of them should become a car wash or will become a car wash, but what we have here today is a project with a developer motivated to be creative, to come up with better solutions for each and every site that we pursue. A move to avoid urban blight, which can be so cancerous to shopping centers and corridors. With that, I do appreciate your consideration of this proposal, and I will be available for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Plumley?
Mr. Schmidt, how are you today?
Good. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Had there been a market study for this location by the Green Company? Because it was brought up at the informal that there were a number of car washes in the vicinity. Can you address that? Are you able to address that today?
I will let Mr. Van Bremen address that when he's able to speak.
Being with Kimley Horn, had you, looking at the capital improvement project, have you looked at the impact of that project with the expansion to 6 lanes and how that would affect this location and the operation?
Yes, sir. I do believe we have enough room to accommodate the expansion as currently described.
So I heard this morning a rough estimate of about 12 feet of a taking. It could be more, than that.
Sure.
But you believe that that would remain, this use could remain under those conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As far as, this will remain owned by the same family that owns it currently, the Oslands, is that correct?
I do have a clarification on that, is Green Clean will be purchasing the property and the structure.
So they will be the owners of the property?
Yes, sir.
And they're going to make quite an investment in that structure then, a significant investment to convert it from its current retail use to the car wash operation?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. Can you tell us what were some of the efforts that you made to try to address the pedestrian aspect? I understand it's going to be next to a super road. I mean,
sure.
I'm not sure how many people are going to be walking along that road. but what efforts did you make to try to address that, if you could be specific?
Yeah, so from the start of this project application, we went and sat down with Mrs. Nowak at the planning department to really discuss what are the opportunities to make this as attractive as possible, understanding the conflicts with the use in the commercial area pattern book. So when we submitted the initial application, we did not have the sidewalk and the landscaping that is at the top of the screen here, where the old pharmacy drive-through was. We did not have the additional landscaping along the existing sidewalk connection on the screen left. We also made a commitment to planning that any sidewalk within the right-of-way along our frontage that is not compliant with a 5-foot minimum, that we would improve that as well with this project. And I think one of the things that you hear a lot about in terms of providing nice pedestrian connectivity always comes down to the availability of shade, and really being able to give people a spot where they're not walking in the hot sun in the middle of the summer to get to some of these destinations. I think the one connection that exists and the one that is proposed do improve upon what exists today and do provide an opportunity for these to be nice pedestrian connections to Timberlake Shopping Center and ultimately the Holland Road network. The other thing we did do as well is with the removal of the pharmacy canopy and window, that in the initial application, we were not making all that green space. We went back and revised that to add green space and landscaping along that back wall to break up the visibility of that facade.
So you're saying you added permeable surface?
Yes, sir. So we will be removing the asphalt full depth. We will be installing landscape planters along there with landscaping that will screen that long facade from the right-of-way.
All right, any other questions? Yes, Mr. Parks.
Mr. Schmidt, is this the first instance of taking a converted building like this and turning it into a car wash? Is this going to be one of the first ones, or?
The city of Virginia Beach is not the guinea pig. This has been done by Green Clean and Express Wash Concepts up in the Pennsylvania market already. And Craig can elaborate on that, but they do have a few of these operational where they've completed the conversion and it's been successful. Last month, we did get approval in Chesapeake to do the same adaptive reuse of a Rite Aid on Battlefield to a car wash. So that is proceeding into site plan design now and hopefully construction sometime the end of this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I have one question.
Yes, Mrs. Quaylar.
Mr. Schmidt, did you have an opportunity to reach out to the residents on South Plaza Trail? And if so, what was their feedback?
We did not. It was hard to identify an organized group. So given the nature of the adaptive reuse, we were not able to identify a specific contact to set something up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I'm going to get the next speaker.
Thank you, sir.
Which is representative of the ownership. Yeah. Just state your name for the record.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. My name is Craig Van Bremen. I'm the Chief Development Officer for Express Wash Concepts. My address is 336 Bishopgate Lane, Crozet, Virginia. So Express Wash Concepts, just a little bit about us. We have 95 sites in operation currently. We have about 16 under construction currently, and that's across Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Virginia, and I think that's it, actually. So more locally here, we've given to, across those 95 sites last year, we are a very charity-minded organization. We really want to grow our people from within, and we want to support the communities that we serve as well. And with that, we gave about $400,000 to charity last year through our grand openings and other care initiatives like Greg mentioned. More locally, we have 14 Green Cleans currently operating the Hampton Roads MSA. And one of the reasons that's so important, we'll get to site selection. There was a question on site selection in a little bit. But one of the reasons that's so important is because we don't want to just provide jobs to people, we want to provide growth opportunities to people. So when you come to work at Green Clean, you have an opportunity to start, and this happens throughout the company. So start working in the lot at $17 an hour and work your way up to assistant site manager where you're making $45,000 to $55,000 an hour. Then you can have your own site and be a site manager making $75,000 to $80,000 an hour. And then if you make it up to area manager, you can be making over $100,000. We'd love to have college educated people, but this also isn't a pathway for somebody that has to have a college degree. If you come in, you work hard, you learn the job, you can move up within the company. And those are the kinds of opportunities that we really want to provide to folks that work for Green Clean Auto Wash and work for Express Wash Concepts. This facility, along with some of the other ones that we've recently developed on Shore Drive, and I want to thank staff because the Shore Drive product has turned out excellent. I was just there actually before, and I encourage you to go look at that. All of the locations we do, we talk about being Disney perfect, and we really want to provide a great product, and that includes the enhanced landscaping. That's something that we work with cities on, but that's something that we just is core to us and that we want to do in general. So that Shore Drive location is a great example of what we want to do. I can see us using that building in other places as well because it turned out so well. So thank you, staff, for helping us to bring that to fruition. Greg already mentioned the benefits of washing with Green Clean from an environmental standpoint, so I won't go through that. When we talk about density is really important to our business. We have unlimited wash club members that the more locations that we can provide, the more value there is to their membership. So when they buy a membership, not only does their pass work at Shore Drive, but it also works at the other 95 locations that we have in the 14 locations within Hampton Roads. And we really want to serve our customers where they need to be served. So we identified this Holland Road corridor years ago as an area that we wanted to be. We are very data driven. We look at demographics, we look at vehicles per day, we look at retail, we look at competition, we look at all of those things. And we targeted this area years ago. We actually had the old Wells Fargo banking contract. And because of just site constraints and some other things that were going on at the time, we actually backed away from that site. We've been working on the Title Max parcel across the street. And this site came available. We had the opportunity to buy it. And it's a great opportunity for us to do our adaptive reuse. As Greg mentioned, we've actually completed 3 of these drugstore conversions. One's in Cleveland, and we have 2 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they have turned out amazing. Customers love the interior backs. Customers love the way that you come through the building. I understand that some don't love the car wash use, but sometimes the economics of where we are, if you look at this building, Rite Aid was a pretty powerful company for a very long time, and they could garner large rents. There's not too many companies with the experience and with the economic strength that they can come in and do an adaptive reuse like this. We have the experience to do that, and our business model supports actually acquiring a building like this. So with that, Greg's already walked through the site specifics, but I'll pause for any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Is there any questions? Mr. Palmy?
Yeah, I had asked earlier about this market. There were, as I mentioned at the informal meeting, that there were other car washes within this vicinity. And can you address the workup that you've done to look at the market?
Yeah, we always look at competition very heavily. I think there's a competitor just down the street. Frankly, we offer a different product than they do. They have some self-serve automatic bays out there, which are great for people that want that product and want to be able to wash their car themselves. They also do have some smaller tunnels, but that's not really what we do. We really focus on being in the convenient, right place so that you can wash your car quickly, that you can do your interior free vacuums, and that you can move on. The demographics there definitely support demographics, and the strength of just the number of people, the number of vehicles around that area are really what drive whether or not a site works for us. And when we look at those 95 stores that we have across our portfolio, we've identified the key performance indicators in data of what drives site performance. In this particular area, even with that competition that's put into our model, we believe this is a very strong site for us.
And Mr. Schmidt had mentioned that this is actually going to be a purchase by your corporation of this property. So it's not just redevelopment for the owner. It actually allows them to be relieved of the obligation of keeping this empty building for who knows how long, waiting for someone to come along that is willing to take it on.
That's right.
So this will be a transfer in ownership as well. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. And obviously, it behooves us to move as quickly as possible through the right approvals and to get construction done as quickly as possible and get the renovations done so we can get open for business as quickly as possible.
Is there anything that you wanted to add to the question about pedestrian-friendly layout?
I think Greg is best positioned to answer that. I mean, we always want to do all we can to be a good partner in the community. So if there's additional ideas that staff can come up with of ways that the site can work in their master plan, we are all ears and we'll be happy to support that.
All right,
Yes.
Ms. Byler? I'll get you next, sorry.
If you could please clarify on your site plan, and I may be wrong, but as I understand it, our active transportation plan shows that there should be 5 foot or more in width along South Plaza Trail, and that your proposal has no change to the existing 3-foot sidewalk.
I will have to defer to Mr. Schmidt on that.
We had discussed that with staff. We are committed to upgrading the sidewalks along both frontages to achieve a minimum of 5 feet in width. So I don't remember if that was in the draft conditions off the top of my head, but we can add that as a condition.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Hippen?
The other gentleman spoke of demographics for the area. Okay, wait a minute, don't go away, because I'm gonna tie both of you, and I'm sorry. So you spoke of demographics, but sir, you said that you haven't spoken to the people that live in this area. So the question is, how do you know that this is the ideal business location if you haven't spoken to the people that live around that area? I'm very familiar with the area, by the way, and I know of what you speak of, the demographics. There's an apartment complex right across the street. There are very close homes in the area where they're very close together. There are also townhomes in the area. So the question is, how do you know that this is what the neighborhood wants?
Yeah, for clarity, when I speak of demographics, I mean the demographics within the area. So the number of households within areas, not the specific makeup of like a particular neighborhood or talking to a particular neighborhood. I just mean there's enough people within the area that we believe will be drawn to this area that will support our business. As far as the neighbors across the street, we also believe that based on our other locations in Virginia Beach, that people will want to buy an unlimited wash club membership here. It's very similar in a lot of ways to the other sites that we have. So if we use that kind of as a template to say, is this a good location? We do believe that the folks in the area will shop and will wash their car at our location.
Okay, you spoke of the car wash that's there where Independence becomes Holland, okay? But if you go the other way, you have Car Spa, which is at the corner of Lynn Haven and Holland, okay? And then and we just approved a car detailing business in that very shopping center. So my question still remains, if you haven't spoken to the people that live in that area, if you haven't reached out to the community, how do you know that this business is going to be fruitful, given the fact that this is not what the comprehensive plan is looking to place in this area?
And I go back to the 95 sites that we've developed and the other sites within Hampton Roads. We look for those similar things, and we do take into account the competition is actually, the Freedom Wash is a little bit different in the product that they offer. The Car Spa is a little bit different too. I believe that one has full service as well. That's not what we do. So the product's a little bit different. I know it seems like you're just washing your car, but the product is genuinely different. So giving folks an opportunity to use their money and to spend it to wash the way that they want. And we think we can provide a more economical, better benefit than our competitors also, right? We think that our wash club's priced probably more reasonably than anyone else's, and you get a better product. So it really is the free market coming in. We feel like that the key things that we look for in site selection all exist at this location, and that's why we're so excited about it.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Byler?
There's also a car wash I'm sure you're familiar with on Independence and Edwin, which is a mile or maybe less from this. So that's like 3 car washes in less than a mile. So while yours might be the best, then I guess that means it's taking business away from the others.
I don't look at it that way. I think we're growing the pie. If you look at just car wash statistics overall, there's more people coming to wash their car at a car wash than washing in their driveway. So it's not an end-sum game, right? Like it's not we're taking their customers, we're adding to the pie, and it's actually what we want. We want people to come wash in professional car washes, so they're not washing in their driveway using 10 times more water or putting detergents down the storm sewer.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments.
Yep.
All right, any other questions for the applicant and his representative? None? All right, just have a seat.
Thank you.
I'm going to close it now for kind of.
I'd like to
discuss
make
it
some
amongst ourselves.
comments and
Sure.
address this. I mean, we're a country of over 300 million cars. We're not going to turn into a pedestrian community overnight next to a super road. I do worry about blight at these locations when you have empty structures for long periods of time. When families have opportunities to transition these sites, they don't come that often. And it can be not an ideal, perfect business. And sometimes we're in the business of judging what's ideal, and sometimes we're trying to judge what's best in the moment and what's not perfect. And I don't see this as a perfect application. And obviously, there are issues with the comp plan. But we have in the past proceeded to recommend projects like these. I do worry about something sitting empty for long periods of time and that we're not going to have an applicant with the strength that this applicant has to come in. So for those reasons, I would support a motion. Obviously, the motion should include that there be a 5-foot width sidewalk. I think it should include that. So I would support that motion and make that motion if I get support for it.
All right, Mr. Plumlee, any other comments?
Yes.
Discussion? Ms. Hippen?
So there's been a lot of discussion over several months about the comprehensive plan and us sticking to what we foresee that should come in these different areas. And I went out to this area, and like I said, I'm very familiar with the area. I used to use Car Spa, okay? I stopped using them. I use somebody else now. There are a lot of car washes in that area. I think that we should stick to the comprehensive plan in this case. And your business model sounds great. Please don't get me wrong on that. It sounds great. I just don't think that this is the area for it. I do believe that the Rite Aid folks will find someone to take that building over or to take that area over. And my biggest concern is that you haven't talked to people that live in the area to get a feel for what they're looking for in their neighborhood as well. It's just, that's one thing that I think you should do. Every other thing that we go through and approve, we've got letters or we've got notification to the people that live around it and they're talked to. And I think that's just one thing that an amazing plan that you didn't do that you should have done for this area.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, discussions? All right, right now I have a motion by Mr. Plumlee. I need a second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Costin.
Chairman, can I get one point of clarification to the motion? Is that a minimum 5-foot wide sidewalk along both Holland and South Plaza?
Yes.
Okay.
That motion is to approve with the 5-foot.
Thank you.
Yes. And second by Mr. Parks, correct?
Correct.
Costin.
Oh, no,
Costin,
Costin.
sorry.
Yeah. The vote is open. By a vote of 8-3, agenda item number 5 has been recommended for denial.
All right, thank you. Meeting's adjourned.